You're listening to Real Talk Radio 97.5 FM. This is John Rawlings saying thanks and welcome to the live stream. We have a very special guest in the house, Miss Megan. How are you?
I'm well. How about you, John?
I'm good. So I'm going to let you kind of introduce yourself and your background and your position.
Yeah, so my name is Megan. Hello, everyone. I'm the coordinator of prevention programs. I just hit my 1 year April 8th at C.A.R.E. So I've been here for a little while now. And what I do at C.A.R.E., my day to day, is I look at community prevention curriculums that I can teach the younger kids. I actually work with grades first grade through high school, and obviously I work with older adults, but I mostly focus on the younger kids, and I teach them healthy boundaries, unhealthy boundaries, our personal bubbles, like anything that would pivot to their level. And I always adjust it every single time I go into any place. And I'm at the Boys and Girls Club. I also go to the Academy. I hold a group there as well. I recently started a program at Port Charlotte High School for their NJROTC program to help tackle the silent epidemic of sexual assault and domestic violence in the armed forces. So I figured why not start at NJROTC and help them understand what's healthy and what's unhealthy with relationships and their boundaries as well. So,
So how is your engagement with that age bracket?
Yeah, so engagement wise, it's always interesting. I always have to adjust it, but it's nice because I am a little bit younger. I am 24, so I'm able to still keep up with the lingo and be a little more involved. I'm on TikTok and social media and anything, and it's funny because most of the kids nowadays, even younger, are always on social media. So when it comes to my lingo and my entertainment wise, I can usually keep up with what they're talking about, but also pivot myself to a way where it's still professional, but keeping the subject within DV and SV for sure.
Sure. We have talked about this in the past over my 8 and 9 years now of doing the live streaming with not just your organization, but others. About the importance of getting the younger generation and having a focal point there. Us older generations, I guess I'm going to throw myself in there. We kind of have our minds made up. We also have kind of been through the gamut, so to speak. Not that older generations don't have the issue, but the younger generations are faced with different problems than we ever were. Social media, the AI now is a whole nother gamut that is now kind of fast approaching controls and different things like that, along with the TikToks of the world. You guys have to have your hands kind of in everything question wise. I'm sure with that age bracket, right?
Oh, yes, definitely, for sure. I actually recently attended a talking where it was all about AI and AI dating, because nowadays, kids are actually talking to AI robots, and they're like pretending, oh, this is my boyfriend or this is my girlfriend. And they're doing it because they have no one else. They feel like they don't have someone to talk to, or maybe they're bored. It's really unclear of why they're doing what they're doing still, because there's not enough studies, as AI is kind of recent as of nowadays, but it's very scary about how real, like you can customize the girl, you can customize the guy, how you want them to talk to you. And it's definitely evolving because some of them look like real, like people. And that part is even freakier, and they want you to reply immediately. They'll text you to your phone. They have your information. You have to fill out like a questionnaire at the beginning of like, who would best fit you? So it's very interesting when it comes to AI, especially, and their chatbots nowadays, for sure.
Well, that younger generation, I've got granddaughters myself, and I know that they're on the tablets a lot. Where we were outside running around, they're more inside. They still are running around because mom mom and dad up there make them go out, so it's not like they're attached to the hips. But
Yeah.
yeah, there are situations now with the younger generation that, this whole human trafficking, the dating, the
Mhm.
abuse, it comes in a lot of different formats now.
Yeah.
And it seems like the challenges get harder.
Yeah.
And so, like, even the class that you went to, how important is that for you to understand the ins and outs? And then also, are the people that are telling you these things, are they giving you insight on what's happening and how it's advancing?
Yes. So thankfully, with some of the training that I do attend, they do approach it in a way where it's a little less scary in the sense of like, okay, yes, we may not fully understand what's going on, but here's a way of how we can start the conversation so it's a little less comfortable. And especially being in the high schools and when the kids are telling me, oh, I know what you're talking about, when it comes to like Snapchat. And I always tell these kids, I'm like, if you're on and you have your location on, like people can see where you are at all times. And there's other apps nowadays where you can just download an app and it's basically like a lock file app. And the kid or whomever can basically set a password and it'll look like a calculator app, but it's actually just a lock file app where kids or people can store videos, photos, anything of that sort. And then in disguise on a phone, it'll look like just like a regular calculator app, or even just like the notes or file section on like an iPhone or an Android even. So when the kids are telling me all these things, they're like, oh yeah, I've heard of that, or I know of that. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, who introduced you to that? Like, did you just come upon this? Like, what's going on? Are you just curious? And like, I understand curiosity, but like, again, the saying is curiosity can kill. Yeah. And in addition to dating sites, I know children that are like 17 and they're fudging their age. And they're like, oh yeah, like when I first joined Facebook, I just lied about my age. And so I could join Facebook. And now I have like teens on Facebook nowadays. I'm like thinking to myself, and that happened during I'm a Gen Z. So that was very common for me. And then seeing kids, that are on dating sites, because again, all you have to do is just tell them, okay, what's your birthday? And then you can just make up a random year and a date, and then you can join it. So definitely it's when the kids are talking to me about it, I'm like, we're still doing this. Like this is still happening. And it's even more advanced nowadays with some of those things for sure.
So you bring this information up, and my memory goes back to January,
Mhm.
when we had the human trafficking symposium, and we
Right.
talk a lot and educate a lot about the apps and different
Mhm.
things. So, Snapchat was one thing, the computer where you can store, or the calculator where you can store things. Those
Mhm.
are all things that parents need to realize what's out there. Can you kind of highlight some more things that parents need to understand about the AI and how that's affecting their kid that they may not be paying attention to today?
Right. And unfortunately, with again, all the privacy concerns and everything, anytime you join an AI app as well and chatbots, it'll say like a privacy, like any iPhone or any Android you get, it'll have that like tiny little script of like, oh, this is a warning of such and such. And obviously teenagers may or may not be reading it, or they do or do not care. They'll hit okay. And sometimes the AI and or other apps can go through their files, go through their phones. AI especially, you're answering questions about yourself and your ideal person of who you would want to talk to. So it's a computer learning more stuff about who the person is or the teenager is and what they want. And then they're inserting and basically taking a personality survey, if you would. And then they're going from that point, and then they're having these apps that'll cater to whatever they're talking about. And it's they're getting a lot of information from these children, and whether I believe they also ask age as well. So whether the kid is honest or not, they may even just put their first like month and then the correct date, but also just fudge the year. So they're able to have these type of dating AI apps or just chatting to a random AI. So,
All right. You know, it's fascinating to watch technology advance the way it does.
mm-hmm.
And yet we also have to be very aware that the criminal minds that are out there
Mm-hmm.
are 100% engaging with some of the technology or all of the technology to kind of bring people in, whether it be conversation or a blackmail situation, human trafficking, or even some of the sexual content in videos and blackmailing there of victims. Um, you guys deal with all of those things at C.A.R.E at different
Yeah.
levels at different times, right?
Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah, sextortion is what you're talking about specifically with like revenge porn. And I believe they just passed the Take It Down app with talking about revenge porn and why this is not allowed and porn sites being banned and all this, which is an amazing feat in general. And it really does help because there are some videos that are obviously of minors, but people don't know that because they're either being recorded privately or 5,000 other different things that are going on. But yes, definitely it is very it's something that we do talk about, and it does come up, unfortunately, a lot in our work.
Well, and you know we've the past conversations with Karis, we wish we didn't have to talk about these conversations,
Right.
but and we wish we didn't have our jobs, but those jobs are never going to go away.
Right.
They are changing. They're going through a change now
Mhm.
with the technology side of things, but they're also going through a change within the structures of government,
Mhm.
because of the changes that they've implemented in, with the restrictions and the
Mhm.
takedowns and all the things that they're approaching now, which is finally, I think, going to give you guys some tools to work with to
Yeah.
to combat and protect. Do you
Yes.
feel that way?
Oh, yes, definitely. And as someone who is the prevention side or part of the prevention side of domestic violence, it makes my conversation easier and easier to approach, especially in the schools, but also just in general with staffing, because it's hard to have these conversations in the sense of they my staff is also demographic wise, it's all over the place. We have
Yep.
young, we have old. And so when I'm trying to explain it to obviously a different demographic that I'm used to, when I'm like, okay, this is AI, this is how this is going on. They're like, hold up, I'm confused. How does AI play any of? And then I'm like, okay, I'll start the conversation with this. But definitely with the Takedown Act, it makes my conversation a little bit easier.
Absolutely. You've got a big agenda,
Mhm.
and I say that to you because your agenda every day is ever changing.
Yeah.
But you're very focused on the younger generation with what your position holds.
Yeah.
You still do other things at C.A.R.E. Can you describe how besides the outreach side of things to your organizations that you listed prior to, how you are an influencer within the C.A.R.E. organization itself?
It's funny you asked that because anytime someone comes in or we have a staff meeting, I always tell them I'm the personality hire, obviously with the qualifications behind it and education. But it's funny, I try my best with anything. And again, with our job, it is stressful, it is high maintenance, it is 5,000 different things that you wouldn't think. And we're always on the lookout, especially with phone calls coming in and out, and we don't know what's happening. I always try my best to enlighten everyone because I feel like that's also part of my job as well. But I'm in the call center. I usually am in the call center. So to be the call center later today. Our call center is always staffed with a real person, and that's what's nice about it. And yes, we have a text chain, but again, even with our text chain, you're still talking to a real person. Right. So yeah, those are just a couple other things. And I help out with our shelter manager and whatever she needs donation wise and anything of that sort. So I also am a little bit of outreach in addition to my prevention as well.
So let's highlight some of the really important things, which are some of the phone numbers that people should feel free to reach out, ask questions through, whether it be via text or call. Can you kind of highlight what you guys offer there for the citizens?
Yeah, so at C.A.R.E, we are a hotline helpline that is 24/7. You're always going to talk to a real and live person. We do have a domestic violence hotline, and we have our main line as well. I believe it's on the bottom of the screen as well. And then we also have a sexual violence helpline too. And again, we do also have a text line and computer line because everyone usually has a laptop, or they can go to a public library and they can type in and it'll still be anonymous. Anyone that calls in, it's always anonymous. It's always confidential. But again, you'll always be talking to a live person, regardless if you're at a computer, a cell phone, or on the phone talking to us in general. So,
and that text line number is 941-499-8534. So feel free to text questions. It's anonymous. They're not here to hound you. They're here to help you. If you have that issue, the quickest and easiest way, a lot of times, is not a phone call. It's a text message.
Yeah.
So feel free to reach out to them and have open dialogue, and they'll treat you right. We've had success stories. We've had events together. We've done all these things, and you know, the fact that we're talking about it changes a lot of points of view. When you go in and you engage for the first time at any level for your presentation, do you feel like you're changing minds and attitudes too?
I do, with the sense of I don't usually, I mean, obviously I'll go, hi, thank you for having me. I work at C.A.R.E, but I take it to more of a personal level, which I think you kind of have to, especially with this job, with any age. I don't want them to think that I'm just some person that's talking to them. I want to be within the conversation with them. I want to be with them having these conversations instead of to them. Right. So a lot of the times I approach it that way because it not only makes it more personable, but we're able to share our own stories, and storytelling, I think, definitely brings people together. And I talk about my story and why I got involved with C.A.R.E and anything of that sort, because I think getting to know somebody, rather than me just talking to you, I'd rather talk with you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys have an event coming up, and yes, we'll kind of highlight that here real quick before we go into another segment. But can you highlight the event that's coming up and why people should participate?
Yes. So we actually have the Paula Hest Foundation Luncheon. This is our 7th annual one. It'll be happening May 14th. And it'll be from 12 to 2 at the Island Yacht Club specifically, and it'll be $50 per guest. And obviously the scholarship has been happening. It's our 7th annual one. But she was one of our founders and board of directors, and we thought we have to make a scholarship fund for specifically any student that wants to happen. And you can go to our C.A.R.E site as well and get more information on it. But again, you're more than welcome to call. We will reserve tickets. We'll have them there, especially for you, because, you know, why shouldn't we help shape another kid's or young adult's future specifically?
Absolutely. And you know, the importance of these events, community engagement is huge for you guys, and you really work hard at it. I mentioned the human trafficking event, the symposium, and that's in January. So anybody who wants to get involved, this is the time to really start as a vendor, get your information over to C.A.R.E. They'll be more than happy to start answering questions and talk to you about that upcoming event. It grew so much over the last 3 years. I have been the MC, and I have agreed to do it again this year. But I look forward to it, and I talk about it nonstop because of the information that comes in from that. So I would say that anytime that you could, as a citizen, that you could get involved with any event from what C.A.R.E is doing, you're always going to leave with a nugget of information somewhere along the line, even if you have attended in the past. Would you feel the same way, especially with the AI information that's now new out there?
Yes, definitely, especially community partners specifically, and parents. Parents is one of the biggest things that we really want to get out there and have them come to these community events. They're free, they're accessible. It does not hurt to get more knowledge, and especially with everything now evolving, not only the apps, but Chat GBT or Chat AI or just anything in general. Like the lingo's changing as well, especially when it comes to human trafficking, sextortion, and what your kids aren't and are doing on their phones. And I understand respecting privacy, but obviously if it involves your child or children in general, maybe we should pay just a little more attention, especially when it comes to this, because I definitely see in the judicial part and political part of this where everyone's getting upset with the app makers and the social media people that are the founders of this. But then there's privacy and all those like fine print things that actually explain it out. And if a kid or a parent says okay to it, then,
the one thing I've learned from going to the events is that there are a lot of people working diligently at prevention.
Yes.
And not just you, other organizations, and you guys do communicate across the board about that.
Yeah.
The one thing that I hear you say is privacy. If you're concerned, and I say this as a grandparent and a parent, if you're concerned about the engagement that your young adult or child is having on a computer device, if you don't protect their privacy, someone will help them ruin their privacy. And they work. And the one thing I did learn through this whole thing, and I've learned over the years of 61, is that the criminal mind works nonstop.
Yeah.
People who are in prevention mode, parents who think I just did this for 5 minutes and I fixed it. The other side of that coin is the criminal mind on the other side is working nonstop to work around those stops.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you're talking about privacy that's being exposed already. How do you engage with an adult to try to not minimize, but influence them into you're not breaking down the relationship. You need to build a stronger relationship with the young child or young adult that helps them through education on why you're working together to prevent.
Right. Yeah. And definitely an amazing question, because a lot of the time, I mean, no offense, I'm coming in, it's a 24-year-old girl and I'm going to go talk to a bunch of adults or just a single adult. And they're like, okay, this seems like a lecture, like someone trying to tell me how to parent my child, which is not the case at all. What I'm trying to do is just educate and start this conversation. It's okay to be the little distant. I understand dual income families and you can't always be there. I understand that. My parents are both dual income. I understand that completely. But starting the conversation is always a little bit tricky because, again, I'm just trying to come from a place of, I just want to help, period. I just want to help. I just want you to understand that, hey, this is currently happening. This is a current trend, an unfortunate trend, but it is happening. Let's figure out why it's happening, or let me introduce you to it. And then we'll start the conversation as, okay, here's why I think some people are having these, or why they're doing it. And again, with the training that I have attended, or especially with the chat GBT or chat AI in general, is that the kids are feeling lonely. It's loneliness is what they're feeling. Yes, you can be alone, but there's the difference of being alone and then feeling lonely. So breaking that down to a parent or an adult or just another community partner is saying those things, because they could be surrounded by lots of people and have lots of friends, but still be on these apps.
Yep.
It is very simple, very easy to sign up for them. So
and adults are just as guilty as the kids on being on the apps, being on the phone. I say this a lot, that the downlookers of the world, because we're constantly looking down at our phone now. We're communicating even with somebody in the same room.
Yes.
We're not making, we used to, I remember sitting in a classroom, Mr. Bauer and Mr. Rader, please forgive me on this. That's teachers that were in elementary school. We would send signals. We didn't have phones. We had signals. We throw a pencil. We do whatever we need to do to get somebody's attention to draw distraction. Today, it's done differently. It's done with a cell phone, a text message, and that leads to other things. But one of the things that I wanted to point out to you is that we both did something that we both need to acknowledge works well with this conversation. I made fun of my age. You kind of made fun of your age. When you put the age brackets in the same room and you have the conversation with the child and the parent at the same time, it's not a lecture, it's an education. You are opening the conversation. It is not a stressful thing for a parent at that point to drive home and say, hey, what'd you learn? Or you know what, I learned this. That's the difference that your impact is making now, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. And it's weird because I used to work at a sauna studio where it had like 2 beds and one thing. And I had this young couple come out and they're like, it kind of forces you to talk to one another. And I'm like thinking to myself, you're a couple. Do you not talk to each other like all the time? And she goes, I mean, yeah, we do over text. And I'm thinking to myself, that's like a weird concept for me. And they're like my age, if not a little bit older, but it's definitely starting those conversations. It's having those conversations, be like, what'd you learn today? What did you get out of this? Hey, are you feeling stressed or anxious about like this new chat GBT or chat AI thing? It's just having those, asking the question, being blunt and asking the question, because the worst they could say is what? No, or they could get into another whole different conversation, I guess.
We used to have dinner conversation. We have living room TV conversation on text and computers.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between that and what I'm talking about, because even watching TV the other night with my wife, she says, you're not paying attention to the show. Well, yes, I was paying attention to the show, but I was working and texting and doing different things at the same time. Was I 100% paying attention to everything? No, not 100%, but there are things that we do in life today that we did not do before. That the distraction of driving, that until that got educated on why, until things changed. Now you can't hold your phone. Now you hands free, all these things, the evolution of technology that we're all embracing. At the same time, so do people who mean harm. And I liked what you said earlier, though, about the people who invent these things. They're not inventing them. They're inventing them to make money. They're not intending them to have harm. Their approach is, we don't want to be liable.
Right.
And yet we're suing them. We're doing all these things. Wrong, in my opinion. Right and wrong, both things are addressed there, because we have to address the wrong side of what they have invented. But suing them because parents didn't take responsibility for governing them.
Yeah.
There still has to be a governing body of protection of the younger generation.
Yeah.
Who really at the age of 10, 12, 6, whatever number you want to throw in there, even some 20-year-olds who maybe book smart but not street smart and not understand what's happening in the real world, because there's a huge difference between those two things. You deal with all of those things in one presentation.
Yeah.
And you're trying to it's a breakthrough moment, really. And that's all you're trying to cause, is a breakthrough moment to open dialogue. And it's what happens at a greater level at the symposium. And I know I'm talking a lot about the symposium, but it has been very impactful for me in what I do every day, because I have taken a lot of that information and shared it, because the people that are working those things, the sheriff's departments, the FBI agents that are coming in and talking openly, the victims who are opening their hearts and exposing their trauma to help others. That's, to me, that's beyond comprehension, unless you go there, unless you experience it and you're part of it. And you guys you're a vital part of changing culture. We have really a lot of influence right now in our lives with AI and chat and any of these things that come in, but they're an influencer too, and there's got to be a balance. Can you talk a little bit about what the future holds if we continue down this path? What they've told you at these events that you participated in, what potentially could be coming?
Yeah. So actually, funny enough, they are saying this may be a little more common with the dating and of the AI bots and anything, and people and approaching the conversation, be like, oh, well, how is dating your AI girlfriend? Is that nice? Like, how is that going? The starting of that conversation is not to immediately attack the person, but just start off with, because obviously no one wants to feel attacked. No one wants to feel like what they're doing is wrong, because to them it's not wrong. They feel like that's their right as of right now. And so the conversation is shifting as of, okay, how are they? Why'd you join the app? What do you get out of this? I'm just curious. And starting it from an accepting, but also kind of questioning it in the sense of like, just why? And we don't want to attack them. It's not anything of that sort. And let me highlight something. The gaming is also changing as well. I play video games. I've talked with third and fourth graders who are on these gaming sites where you can quite literally talk to anyone. Fortnite, Roblox, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. I have little girls and little guys just, oh yeah, this is what I did on Grand Theft Auto. I'm like, you're 9. You're 9. You have to be at least, I believe, 18 to play Grand Theft Auto. They're like, oh, well, my parents in the room, so it's okay. And they can hear me on the mic. And I'm like, that's a unique thing for me to hear, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that was never happening when I was a kid. Oh my gosh, my parents would never have let me to join any of those type of things. But because now they have Discord, which is a gaming or extra site where you can just talk to people anonymously, and you can have your own username and set up your own profile and talk to like millions of people. And like these Twitch streamers, these YouTubers, social media influencers, they have like little Discord things where they can talk to their fans, if you would. And I'm not putting quotations on fans because they are fans, but they're doing it all digitally. Yep. Game chat, they're doing it. They will be like, oh, where are you from? Like, and I've had this conversation with, this is when I was in high school, and I was playing with someone and we're in game chat and they're like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, making up like a random place. And then they say, oh, I know where you're from. They're like, do you know what this school is? And then they'll say like a school where I'm like, I'm just fudging this at this point, because obviously, shouldn't be giving out any personal information. But do the little kids know that? Do they know to say, oh, they're just, the person that is trying to get more information on them is trying to find relatability, and whether they're close or not, and anything of that sort, because you can pretty much find out. Or do your parents work? Do they work all day? Are you home alone? No, I'm not home alone. And then they'll go on and blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, are you going on any vacation soon? Yeah, it's simple as having, like, just saying something like that. Because then they can, the kid may give out their location, their zip code, their state, their school, what their clubs they go to. And it's probably just a Google search away, unfortunately. So again, those conversations are even changing in the gaming world, and kids joining more games online with the game chat, with the Discord, with Twitch, it's all evolving when it comes to that. So approaching it's definitely going to continue to get not harder, but just, it's going to be something we're unfamiliar with, and becoming familiar with something such as AI or game chat or anything of that sort is really up to the adult or parents or guardians, how much that they want to know about it, I guess.
And I'm going to ask this because listening to what you're saying, you've got, as an organization, I know your focus, and I know that you guys try to stay up to date and current on all these things, and all the people and organizations that you work for are doing the same thing. You can't, by any stretch of the imagination, know every one of these entities that are out there.
Correct.
And so that being said, with the force, the unknowing force that's out there, there's still a lot that in this conversation and at the symposiums and at any public forums, you may not know about because they're new. And they're being developed to do exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly.
And so if the parent or guardian isn't the line of protection at home, who is?
Right.
Because you guys can't do it. Law enforcement. I've gone through some things listening to the information provided at the symposium, and adjusting and readjusting my mindset into understanding the broad scope of what parenting is today, comparing it to the 70s. You can't comprehend in a very short period of time, 50 years. Okay. And it isn't even that long, because if we go back 5 years, we weren't talking about AI. We go back 3 years, I don't even think we were talking about AI. We're talking about bots. We're things that we're talking about today, we weren't talking about 5 years ago. And the interaction and the human trafficking side of what we knew as citizens, which was the snatch and grab and go, now turned into keep local, keep hidden, and threat. And so it's the parents that think nothing is happening. It may be in your own home. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, and definitely avoiding the conversation with your kid because, oh, that's their business. They're just playing video games. They're just being kids. You can't say that anymore. Like, you could say that probably back then, be, oh, they're just playing kids. They're outside. They're going to so-and-so's house, and they'll probably maybe call me at so-and-so's house if they dial in and tell me at the, like, what other house or whatever. But yeah, it could be happening under their roof, and
and those were real back then. That was real back then. That was what we were doing. And if you didn't call, you'd walk in the door and your mom would say, "You didn't tell me you switched houses."
Yes.
Because they wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
And today you're switching conversations on an app,
mm-hmm.
and it's in front of you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. On the same couch.
Mm-hmm.
There is a distinct difference in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So keep going. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But it's funny because my mom always tells me, she's like, yeah, I just call from another friend's house and I tell my mom where I'm at, or whatever house I think she's at, I'll tell somebody else that's hosting the party or whatever. But yes, no, with the app being quite literally in front of you, and now we have this new generation of the funny part of the iPad kids, or you see them at restaurants and they always have their tablet on. And parents, I do hope that they are listening, especially to this, is that with Androids and iPhones, there's different profiles they can have. So I understand parental locks that parents can implement. But kids are also smart, and they're capable of going through your stuff and finding out what the password is and what the code is. And if you change the Wi-Fi, or you go on a different Wi-Fi, and they have one separately just for the kids and one for the adults. And I understand that completely. But just know that on these apps and Androids and or iPhones in general, there's different profiles. You can have like the PG one that they'll have when they're home, still have some of the same apps that they like, but then they can also switch, like when their parents go to bed, to the other profile. And then they can click and hit a different password, and it'll change all their apps to stuff that they're probably not supposed to have or be on, but it'd still be on the phone. It's just hidden with a different lock or behind a different door or screen or profile. Like Finsta was a big thing. It was basically a fake Instagram where kids did not follow their parents or peers that they like, that they kind of wanted associated with, that'd be their friends for sure, but they would still be private. But if you were allowed on their fake Instagram, it's just like all the real and raw stuff of what you're getting of this person, instead of the social media, like picture perfect, like family vacation, where I went, like yada, yada, yada. Like this is during my time. And I remember they were like, oh, do you have a Finsta account? I'm like, I don't really need to have one. And my mom followed me on my main account, but these kids are like, oh, I'm not going to follow my parents, or my parents won't know about it because I'm going to make it into a completely different username where my parents won't catch me on it. So again, it's simple as just changing a profile. It's as simple as making a new profile, and whether it be under the same email or not, your kids may have different emails as well. Again, these younger generations are definitely getting smarter. They do know how to do this because technology is a little more accessible, not only in the classroom, but just even on the outside as well.
Right. So I want to do this real quick because I didn't do it at the beginning, but I'm going to do it now, which is thank my sponsors. I've got Lines Title and Trust, Remax Palm Realty, and last but not least, the Hardin Insurance Group. All of them are in my heart, and a very special shout out goes to them and anybody else who has contributed towards the success of the live stream, including audience participation, because without you, none of this information gets shared. So the biggest part of this whole conversation should be share it, share it, share it. Like the page, like the content. If you have any other content that you would like to hear about, please let us know, because we're here for you, the citizens of Northport and surrounding communities. Hence, you guys are located in the Charlotte County area, and Spark is another partner up here in the Sarasota region. And can you talk about that partnership and how you guys work together to help each other out?
Yeah. So typically when it comes to, if we do get a call in or a client or anonymous person calls in, They'll typically tell us what county they're in, and more than half of the time, we're making sure we're like, hey, did so-and-so, I recently had a call where it was like, I was supposed to have something happen with this other organization, and I'm calling the other organization like C.A.R.E or ACT, or there's thousands of other DV and SD shelters. I'm like, just want to let you know, so-and-so may be calling in, and just giving them a heads up, because again, a heads up is always nice. And with this job, you don't always get a heads up, but right. But it's definitely nice in that sense. And we do have similar or the same resources as well when it comes to C.A.R.E or ACT or the other DV and SV shelters. Similar in the sense of legal advocacy, probably economic justice, injunction for protection attorneys, shelters, anything of that sort. And it's always good because we always tell them to call. Keep calling, ask these questions. I understand it's hard to ask the questions and it's scary. But again, the worst someone could probably say is no, but then you just keep going, you keep fighting, and we keep telling the survivor this, keep calling. Be persistent with that.
I want to add something in for you because I know that you're going to run with this too. If you have a loved one or a friend who has an issue and you need to figure out an approach, you can still utilize the hotline to do such things, correct?
Correct.
And the importance of that is dialogue, communication, listening and understanding. And having, there's a empowerment is something you guys talk about a lot too, but empowerment comes in the form of education. So if you are dealing with a situation and you don't know anything about it, the best thing you can do is get empowered through education and understanding and listening to the principles at hand. You as C.A.R.E and the organizations around you, police department, a sheriff, anyone in that nature, having a Q&A with those entities, it really is important. And I'm sure you support that, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, it's hard enough if you don't know how to approach the conversation, but it's even harder if we just ignore it. It's even harder if we ignore it. So definitely, please utilize our text hotline, helpline. You can ask these questions. We're more than welcome to answer them. And if we don't know, because at this job, I've learned it's okay to say, I actually don't know. I don't know how to respond to that. I will find someone that does. We will find someone that will be able to answer that question, or we'll give you a resource that will be able to answer that question. And thank God to the sex trafficking, human trafficking symposium, because we connected a lot of people that were probably saying, I don't know. And
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, definitely. But just to finish off with that, it's making the I don't know into, okay, well, how can I go from here? Where can I go from here? So, yeah.
Well, and a lot of times I got to believe that you're finding out about some of these apps and underlying situations because people are letting you know.
Yes.
So the I don't knows on your behalf is because the evolution of change doesn't stop.
Right.
It is enhancing itself in front of our eyes.
Yes.
I jokingly tell this story, and I'm going to ask you a question just so I can clarify whether you know what I'm talking about. The show Jetsons.
I've seen the show, but it's been a little while since I've seen it. I used to watch it as a kid.
All right. So the Jetsons were space aged.
Yeah.
They had their vehicles that flew through the air and went household to household. And they had Rosie the robot who did all the chores.
Yes. Yeah.
So the cars are different looking today. We've got electric cars that are looking more space aged.
Yes.
My iBot that cleans my carpets is named Rosie because of the influence of the Jetsons. And so all these things that are changing, computers are now TVs, computers are now on your watch.
Yeah.
You're doing things that you never thought you would do on a watch that back with the Jetsons, that was part of their futuristic plan for us. Ironically, most of that's coming true. But it'll show you what a lifespan of influence does, because that show was, back in the day, something we laughed about.
Yeah.
And we live it today.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say my lifetime was a long time, but 61 years in the grand scheme of, we're in year 2025. It's just it's a smidgen of that time frame. I can't imagine anybody that was born, early 1900s, what they see as they came into the world and what they're seeing as they leave the world. The justification of prevention is the evolution of growth. And I've got to believe that the harder we work at prevention together, it gives us a much greater chance of prevention of the inevitable, which is the abuse and things that are out there. So if we don't all gather around prevention, there's way too many entities out there trying to do the opposite. Don't you agree?
Exactly. And like you're saying, I'm not trying to scare anyone. We're not trying to scare anyone here at C.A.R.E. We want to help prevent something. I want to help prevent something that should never happen to not only a kid, but young adult, or just an adult in general. It should not happen. We should be having these conversations. And I'm not trying to lecture anyone. That's not at all what C.A.R.E. what we're trying to do. And it's not at all how we would approach the conversation. I just want to educate. We just want to educate and get the word out, because it takes the community and listening in on these conversations and not having just the next reply, but just listening and hearing it and then having a reply. It's going from there. And it's funny because sometimes I will talk to people out in the community or anything of that sort. And I've learned that there's two different types of people. There's people that listen with just only their intent to reply with what they want to say. But then there's other people who are just like, let me listen, let me hear, let me learn, and then take it. And then whether they reply or not is based on whatever, obviously, that they are hearing. But again, it's just, there's two different types of people in this world, and it's okay. But at the same time, again, we're not here to lecture. We just want to educate. So it's just coming from that point.
So we've got a couple of minutes left, but highlight again the event that's coming up.
Yes. So it's the Paula Hess 7th Annual Scholarship Luncheon. It'll be the May 14th, I believe. Yeah, May 14th. And tickets are $50, and it'll be at the Island Yacht Club from 12 to 2 p.m.
Awesome. Any way that organizations, small or large, can have you come in as a guest?
Yes, anytime. All they have to do is just pick up the phone, call our phone, and we'll have a speaker come out with whatever availability that we do have. We always have availability. We're more than welcome to come talk and educate and help people understand, or not even understand, just start the conversation of understanding, I guess. But yes, so we will always have a speaker, me, my other outreach person, or Linda as well, who is another speaker that we do have in the community too. So
fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to be part of the live stream and get information out that's vital to the community, let alone vital to you as an organization. I give you guys a lot of kudos and a lot of props, and I appreciate all the time and energy you guys put in. Very favorable of what you guys are doing, and I look forward to many more shows and live streams with you guys. But it's important that the citizens of Northport and communities around us, Charlotte County, please engage with the information provided today, and also with C.A.R.E as an organization. There are lots of ways you can give and help them out. So I appreciate it. Thanks so much for being part of it.
Thank you so much, John.
All right. Thanks, and have a good day. This is John Rawlings saying, Thanks for being part of this live stream. Share it, share it, share it. Like the page, like the content. And also, if you need anything or have a show idea, let me know. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.